beaming across the eastern townships from the heart of Brome-Missisquoi. This is 99.1 CIDI.
Hello, this is Aurelian Guillory, and I'm your host for Living Color. Today we're being brought to you by the Muse of Art, and we have with us Susan Pepler, an artist both here in the townships and in Montreal. So hello, Susan. I'm glad to have you here.
Hi, Aurel. This is a real treat. Thank you for the invitation.
Well, we've talked about it for a while and trying to organize your schedule and my schedule and everything like that.
And
but I'm so
we are.
glad that we could be here on this gorgeous day in the townships and talk about art, a subject dear to my heart. And we were both speculating how we've known each other for several many years, and we can't remember how we met.
I can't remember either, but I know you've been to my shows in the city.
Sure.
Yeah.
And also to your shows out here.
In the townships.
Now, the library here in Knowlton, what's the name of it? The historical place?
Oh, that's not the library. It's the Brome County Historical Society where I do show here
And it's a beautiful
once a year.
building.
It is. It's got beautiful light.
And you had a good showing this summer.
Always, yeah. It went very well.
Lots of red dots, is that the right?
Lots of red dots, is right.
That means that people took things away.
Correct. Love
And
that.
you didn't have to take too many home with you.
No, exactly.
That's lovely.
It is.
Well, I know that Susan and I had a very unusual show once where the owners of a real, and we have to say mansion, in downtown
Yes.
Dr. Penfield in Montreal.
The Lotto Quebec mansion, it's referred to now.
It
it's in the
is
Lotto
because
Quebec
they have
ad.
a lady walking down the steps and trotting away.
Yeah.
And people, the clients, my clients who own the house, have now a special tax formula and a special portfolio just for the house because the house makes too much money for it being rented for movies because it was in The Aviator and a lot of other movies. And it's quite something of a house. With lots of good moldings and woodwork. So we had a special event where Susan had maybe 20 of your paintings hanging around the house on
That's
the main
right.
floor. And the upstairs is more private, but the main floor is used for entertaining and movies. And it's got a breakfast room that seats 8 comfortably and a dining room that seats 18 comfortably, as well as a library and fireplaces in the living room and so on and so on. So it's really a beautiful place for hanging art. So I was there to walk through people through to talk about the architecture. And you were there having your art in this beautiful background.
Yeah, so we had historical buffs and art buffs there
That's
that
right.
day.
It was really quite a fun thing.
Yeah.
And you took some really good pictures of it.
We did.
And some of your art in context.
Exactly.
You know.
Those will be posted on my site.
Oh,
at some
good.
point.
I should mention that if you want to see Susan's work more closely, it's www.studiosusanpepler.com. And that's as it sounds, STUDIOSUSANPEPLER.com. She's got only works that are available on that site. She has another site that's just www.susanpepler.com without the studio of previous work that has been sold, and it
Mostly all sold.
and it shows a gamut of your work.
Exactly. Almost just about everything. And this new one came because clients were saying to me, I'm looking for what you have available. I'm looking for work, and it's frustrating going through. There's so many red dots there. So I came up with the idea to get these ones completely into another place. So
Well, that's
you can
great.
sort
That's
of shop
great.
there or browse
Well,
there like a gallery.
I was going to ask you about this sort of origins. Were you painting as a child? Did your mother give you colored crayons and pencils and things? Or your
For
dad?
sure, as soon as I could get my hands on crayons, colored pencils, that was the beginning. I just
Was
couldn't, yeah. Everyone else would be out playing or whatever, and I'd be coloring, and coloring books was my favorite thing to do.
Really, eh? What kind of, did you use colored pencils or Crayolas?
Oh, well, started with Crayolas, graduated to Prismacolor, you know.
Yeah.
And then in the much later, I ended up working in advertising with colored markers, a company that makes every color under the sun, and really that's where I learned to paint,
Really?
even
To
though I
use-
did get a BFA.
And you used colored marking.
colored markers to make storyboard comps for ad companies.
Okay.
And that's where I learned sort of the swing that's in my painting look.
The gesture.
The gestural,
movement.
yes, because you
Right.
had to do these things fast. They had to be beautiful. And that was the best education, better than the BFA, really, the Bachelor of Fine Arts.
That's interesting because I was one of those too. My mother was an artist. Were your mother an artist?
No, not at all.
So
really.
you just came out of
She's
the
a
background.
mathematician, bookkeeper mentality,
Oh, my
accountant,
heavens.
exactly.
Oh, dear. That's something I'm very stupid about still.
Me too. That's probably why I ended up being an artist. I had to choose math, science, or art. Oh, definitely art.
Please, art.
Yeah.
That's true. So we were talking about how you started as young. So did you do paintings of or did you do still lifes? Or
I did, yeah. Things that were around the house. A still life of a bottle with some wildflowers or dandelions in them would be my earliest paintings.
Was it? Mm-hmm. Did you have a green thumb?
No,
For the garden?
Not at all. I got one in the end because I worked in a plant store and they had me going out to offices watering and killing plants. So I learned quickly how not to kill plants. I got a green thumb in the end.
You do, eh? I don't have it. I have I would say I have a purple thumb.
That's your color.
It's my color, but it's not good for growing plants. I love them. And I recognize a lot of flowers, seeing how I live with a green thumb.
We'll have to get you a purple plant.
Well, we have lots, actually.
Okay.
I forced her to buy some heliotrope this last summer. This gorgeous, really saturated, deep blue-violet. And the under of the leaves is sort of a purplish color, too, the underside of the leaves. So, well, you started painting still lives and flowers, and what happened with you you were starting to sell your own paintings, obviously.
No, I didn't start selling. Like I said, I studied fine arts and I studied illustration after that at Dawson. And I ended up working in advertising for somewhere between 10, 15 years. Then I thought, I'm going to try painting. And I did, my first show sold out. I had 30 paintings.
That's a lot of work, 30 paintings.
Yeah. And that was the beginning of it. That went so well, I thought, I think I'm onto something.
Yes.
Or, people are intrigued and want these. They rushed in the first hour. I sold 11 paintings.
That's fabulous.
And by the end of the term, they were all sold.
That's amazing. Well, I have to say that Susan does not sell in art galleries. She sells directly to her clients. And she has a house down in the Shaughnessy Village near Atwater, not too far from the Canadian Centre of Architecture in Montreal. And the house is a perfect background for your art. And you have a lot of walls on the main floor and
high ceilings,
and
beautiful moldings, and
so it really, really works beautifully for showing your art.
Sure does.
Wow. I have my director waving at me to say that I should say this is CIDI 99.1 FM from Radio Communautaire Missisquoi. And this is Aurelian Guillory with my artist friend and being interviewed, Susan Pepler, about her art, because the theme today is the Muse, and may the Muse be with you.
Thank you.
So the Muse seems to be with you a lot.
Yes, my muse. What exactly? That's a big, vague term in my case because I have so many subjects.
Well, I mean,
inspirations.
The muse of your inspiration, of you seeing something and say, oh, this is a painting.
Yes. Sometimes I see the world in paint. I'll see things and it'll be a painting in my mind. Yeah.
Does it?
Yes.
And that's how it starts.
Yes. There's a painting right there or there by the sea or by amongst the palm trees or in the blue poppies of Matisse, and I'll see paintings.
So you do florals a lot.
Love florals, and people love them. They're the sort of the best, most popular of the different series I've done.
And I like the fact that from a distance, your paintings look very realistic, and up close, they're very gestural.
Yes.
And you're very good with a gesture and impasto. Impasto is one of those fancy words. Which means thick paint.
Okay.
You're not one of these painters who has meticulous little lines of a
not
clapboard.
Too neat, not too tidy.
No, you're much more gestural, but you're very, very good of using lots of white and still having dramatic dark backgrounds, dark green, navy, black backgrounds. And I find that it makes your flowers really pop and look very, very, very dimensional.
Well, especially something like sunflowers with the yellow petals on a dark, dark background, and the petals are lit by the sun, so it's very dramatic looking. I love when the sun's shining on something, even a glass vase with the flowers, or the palm trees, or the car in Cuba, whatever it is.
Yes, well, you've been to Cuba a few times.
Yes.
And so you have to have documents and pictures of these marvelous old relics when you're there, eh?
Yes, I do shoot tons of pictures. People have asked me, do I paint them on the spot there? But I might get run over. So no, I do photograph them, and then I work in my studio.
And then you edit. Obviously, you take a picture and they say, okay, this is a step to go into art. Eh?
That's right. I change it into what I see as a perfect painting.
And you can, well, that's true with anything, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, these days, of course, all the computer geeks out there are talking about Photoshop. Did you Photoshop this? Well, I know that I did a series of things when I was teaching at Cidi, which was people on a daybed. And I had people from out of town Photoshopped as if they were sitting on the daybed. And the background behind them was changed to suit who they were as part of their personality.
Yeah.
That was a thing I did at Cidi when it was still around. I taught there for 30 years. And so I got exposed to a lot of art. And your art is one of those that I would characterize as sunny. Would you characterize it? You can practically smell the flowers.
Yeah, sunny, bright. People tell me they're happy paintings.
They're
they make them
cheerful.
feel joyful, peaceful, and it uplifts them, as I hear all the time.
I think that's a good function.
Yeah.
I get invited to so many vernissages in Montreal and everywhere else. Wherever I travel, I go to art galleries and museums, and it's a major thing of mine. But I really am not attracted to art that makes my stomach hurt.
No.
Are you?
Well, I paint, in the beginning, I painted for me. I painted what made me happy.
Yeah.
And I love things that are beautiful. So I paint things that are beautiful, that make me happy and inspire me. And as a result, it does that for